Liverpool, aside from the injury, pretty much perfect today. Everybody who'd want on the score sheet got on it.
Yeah, for sure. I think they look really good. I think playing against Leeds, especially on road, tends to be a tough game. But overall, I think Liverpool handled their threat very well. They moved the ball well. They knew when to sort of like jump tactically and get the better of them. And the front line looked good. Looking at Jota, looking at Mane, looking at Salah, who's now scored 100 goals in the Premier League. You know, they look like a very confident side. It's almost like the Liverpool of old. So, as I say, you know, it could have been a very tricky tie for them, but they look comfortable overall.
Frank, you agree? Another step towards the Liverpool of old?
I don't. I mean, I accept all comments from Nedum, but I don't agree with him, especially offensively. I mean, defensively, Van Dijk is back. They found the security tool. You know, the guy is the real skipper of that team. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold has to really work defensively. Is the way he can cover sometimes the offside is absolutely horrendous at some point. I think Liverpool, you know, 3 years ago, Liverpool was perfect in every department. And now in the middle of the park, I'm still concerned about how they defend, how they work all together. And offensively, I found the trio, before it was Mane, Firmino and Salah, working very, very hard together, trying to find each other, where nowadays, and it's not Jota's fault, but mostly for me, Mane and Salah, they work in a very selfishness kind of mind. They only think about, I have the ball, I try to score. I don't care about the others. They don't try to make passes. And I was quite upset with the situation. Sometimes it's Salah. Today, most of the time was Mane. When he had the ball so many times, he could have given the ball to either Jota or Salah, but kept the ball, be stubborn a little bit, finally scored a goal, but no please for me with that kind of behavior, because I know the talented player, I know the fantastic player, and I know they can play together. They already showed that. So I'm not convinced with the way they were behaving at front.
Nedum, Frank says he disagrees with what you say, but with all due respect. So what do you make of it?
And with all, and respectfully, what I would say is that some of those problems with Liverpool existed in the past when they were getting 90-plus points per season. I think the front three, when they were playing traditionally, they're not really the type of front three that gets a ton of assists for each other. They're people who they're not obsessed with scoring, but it matters a lot to them. I think it's no surprise that Salah takes shots sometimes when maybe he should pass, but it's also the same for Trent Alexander-Arnold. For even the times when they were winning the league, defensively, there were always question marks around him. So when I say it's kind of back to the old Liverpool, like, some of those flaws, they were sort of masked because they scored so many goals and defensively they were so strong. So when you look at their team now and look at the way they're confidently playing in that side, compare that to what it was when they had so many injuries at the back, say, just under a year ago. They look like a completely different side. But as I see them today, it feels familiar. And yes, they are potentially greedy up front and so on. But, you know, that's ultimately what makes them a threat. And that's why at the end of the season, you tend to have 2-3 players for them who probably somewhere between 50 to 20 goals. So, you know, I see it, and respectfully, I disagree with Frank disagreeing with me.
We've got two defenders there talking about selfish attackers, Ale. What about you? Salah and Mane, are they selfish to you?
Yes.
Are they supposed to be?
No. See, they are selfish in certain areas of the field. But how many times do we then say, you know, wish he had been selfish there? These are guys that live off of scoring goals. And there are moments in which that selfishness is called for. My concern with the front three is not whether they're selfish or unselfish with the ball on their feet. They have to be unselfish with the pressure that they put on other teams defensively. They have to be unselfish with their willingness to defend the way that they did. At their best, the front three, they were great offensively. But they were also great defensively in that they sort of gave us the framework as to what Liverpool was going to be, because they were the first line of confrontation. They do that, then they allow Liverpool to continue to play with that energy and intensity that takes them into the attacking half, and with that ability to turn the ball over in bad areas, and now they can continue their attack. That's the part that I think this front three is not doing nearly as well. They're taking too many breaks once they turn the ball over. They have to be that first line of pressure. And then that would make the job of the midfield, which I think, to me, this is the area that would be really concerned with Liverpool, is the midfield. They have their engine in that midfield is not quite as strong as it used to be. And so therefore, those flaws that we see defensively, they start from the top. They get even worse through the midfield. And now all of a sudden the back line is having to clear out the danger. That pressure from the front three has got to be better, and then the midfield job would be a whole lot easier.
Pablo, Liverpool dominant today. How close are they to the Liverpool of old?
Well, obviously, Liverpool always, it's a team that they like to play attacking forward. They have so much threat going forward, and especially, away from home, Leeds always a hard, really, team to play against because they're so intense. But they show, so much personality. I mean, Liverpool, I'm a big fan of Jurgen Klopp, how his team every single season is still there. In the way they keep the team playing, very aggressive off the ball. And then the quality is there. I know that always Salah, Mane, they're always looking to score goals. They have been playing together for so many years now. They know what they're doing. So, they're still one of the big contenders again to win the Premier League again.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.